Hey there, Tamir from Fibonacci-Traders.com here. Welcome to the pre-market preparations live, Monday, October 9th, 2023. This will be a short but very helpful live. A little bit escapism from the daily events, the horrible events that we are going in the past 48 hours in Israel. So thank you very much for joining this live. As we can see, futures 2 hours over here, basically moving sideways since the close on Friday. 42.81 needs to hold. Below it, we are heading towards 42.67. We have an open gap on futures. Oh, there are no gaps. There are no open gaps on the futures historically. So with high probability, this gap will get filled. It's a matter of time, whether it will be today or tomorrow. No gaps on futures. Overall, we have here US 500 futures, 15 minutes. We have broadening formation over here. Now it seems like we are going to the downside, lower highs on the futures, but let's see. As we said, we have an open gap over here. Let's see where we are heading. For now, south to the downside, breaking below the 42.78. In my opinion, we will revisit 42.67 and this trend line over here. On SPY 65, we have some kind of maybe left shoulder head and maybe right shoulder on an inverted head and shoulders pattern. But Fibonacci traders, we don't follow patterns. We don't follow. We only follow price action. 426 needs to hold pre-market. As you can see, 427. Below it, we will see 424 and maybe 423. Let's see where price will take us. Monday are usually not good days to trade. SPY on the 15 minutes. We have this. We can take Fibonacci, swing low, swing high. And as we can see below now, 426 is the 50% retracement, needs to hold. Otherwise, 424.70 and 423.18. Let's make a quick recap. On the daily. SPY daily, Friday closed very bullish, but one candle, one day does not change the overall sentiment. We have this trend line holding a support, but for the lower lows, we need a weekly close above 431 to maybe validate that this downtrend, we might get a bounce towards this gap over here. But for now, one day does not change the overall sentiment. Let's see today. Inside the candle today will not be surprising. QQQ closed September 20th open gap. Now 361.30 will need to be retested as support, acts as support, holding as support, because it was a very tough resistance over here. And here it was a very important level of support. So now after Fridays, we need a close above the 361.50. Dow Jones holding strong above the 328.64. It was a very strong support over here. Support here, support here. Very important level of support, the 328 on the Dow. We need a weekly close above 335, and then with high probability, we are heading to close this gap at the 344 and retesting this trend line as a very tough resistance. IWM holding above this very important area of support, all this box, this red box, very important area of support. IWM is holding. We need to see another few days holding above it, and then with high probability, we will go and retest and fill the 180 gap. Bitcoin and the daily, this yellow trend line is not giving up as resistance, pulling price back below it when 27,300 needs to hold. Below it, we have 26,200. Above it, we have 28,130. As you can see, was resistance over here, was resistance over here. Now, in the past few days, 1 week, more than 1 week, very tough resistance. Follow price, use levels and trend lines as your guide for future price action and as your stop loss management. Ethereum breaking below the 1600 towards the 1536. All crypto land is going south. Apple trend lines since August highs, lower lows, now trying to bounce and going to this gap at the 181, but we need another day or two closing above this yellow trend line over here, this middle yellow trend line, closing above the 179, which will become a very tough resistance because it is the lower border of this gap. All this area, not only this level over here, all this area, all this open gap, everything is a very tough resistance. As you can see, if you take it left, all this area, very tough resistance. Broke here, trend line went back down. Now, if we will get continuation, take under consideration that this area will be very tough resistance. But we can also see, if you are a pattern seeker, left shoulder, head, and maybe we will see in the few coming days right shoulder for inverted head and shoulders, but do not rely on patterns because patterns don't exist. It's only what we see. Microsoft with a very bullish day on Friday, some kind of an inside candle today will not be surprising. Netflix bouncing once again off this purple trend line. This is why I always say trend lines are our GPS future map for future price action. But 386, very tough resistance. So until I will not see 2 or 3 days closing above the 386, we are still downtrend until proven otherwise. Shopify, the multi-bottom scenario, 51.30 holding very nice. I want to see a bounce and 2-3 days maybe closing above the 54.25, and then we are heading towards this gap over here. Above it we have this gap at the 59.30. Amazon holding above this yellow trend line, holding nice above the 123, and same as Shopify, we have a multi-bottom scenario of the 123, 124 area. Let's see continuation, another day or two above the 127.70, and then we have 130, 140, and then close this gap over here. But overall, one day, and it doesn't matter how strong it was, and Friday was a very strong bullish day, it doesn't mean we are in a trend reversal. Look left, zoom out, and what do you see? Lower lows, lower highs until proven otherwise. Tesla, once again, very nice, holding 3 consecutive days above this area of resistance. Now let's see continuation. Otherwise, we have over here, we have high, higher high, and maybe lower high, which means, once again, if you're a pattern seeker, it's more easy to identify, but it doesn't mean that patterns will validate. But if it will get validated, this head and shoulders, we are heading towards the 217. But for now, looks like bulls of Tesla are doing not bad job. We have this. Let's make it red, just for the purpose of education. Red line, high, lower high. We need the bulls a weekly close above this red trend line to negate the higher time frame downtrend. What else do we have? Nvidia breaking above this short-term yellow trend line. Now let's see continuation above the 462, 618 retracement. Let's see. AMD breaking above the downtrend, but one candle does not change the overall sentiment. We need a weekly close above this trend line, above this red trend line. Prefer a weekly close above the 108. Let's go back to the futures, going back down on the 15 minutes, on the 2 hours, it looks like this. For now, nothing much, very tight price section, as you can see. Let's see, where are we heading? So, hi Rafael, hi Iran, hi Availble, hi Leah. Thank you very much for joining. Hi Aviad, hi Amit, Offer. Thank you very much for joining this live. What do we have? Can we rely on the pre-market? Nope. I never rely on the pre-market. Anything can happen. We saw last Friday that the market went down. Very nasty. Pre-market, this Friday's pre-market candle. Very nasty candle. And then we got a bullish run to the upside. So always prepare for both sides. Pre-market is good to follow to get the sense of maybe what will happen. But once the market is open, anything can happen. And it's not like the market is going very deep to the downside. As you can see, it's nothing much. Basically moving sideways. What else? Yeah, Amit, this is why we do these lives, to stay in some kind of routine to help us get through these tough days. Your opinion on AMKR. 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 Daily Encore Technologies. We have all this area over here. Short continuation below towards the 2040 and maybe 2 or 3 days above this box going into this gap over here. If you want, you can take Fibonacci to help you identify future support and resistance. And as you can see, above 2330, and then we have all these levels to the upside. You can take also from here. Doesn't really matter. It's never an accurate price. It's always an area of resistance and support. Follow those prices. If you want to go short, wait for a break below the 2190. Then you have this area over here, the 2012, and then 1804. What else? UNG. We have the natural gas for this. Let's take a look on natural gas. Why I don't have it here? I don't know. Let's take a look here. Futures, natural gas futures. You need to follow this and trade the UNG. We have uptrend channel. Now we have a doji off a trend line. Most of the times, in high probability, doji off a trend line signals a trend reversal. Now we might get a trend reversal to the downside. 3 from a very tough resistance need to act as support. Below 3, we are heading to close this gap at the 266. Look left, all the history from what I've checked, there are no open gaps on natural gas futures. So every move on these futures, the NG1 natural gas futures, will affect UNG. As you can see, UNG, all this area, tough resistance. This area over here, very important area of support. Breaking above it, it needs to, the UNG, if you want UNG now, pre-market is the 782, which means maybe even today, during hours, the 788.84 will get retested in support. But you need to follow natural gas futures to really know how to trade the UNG. Good point to start building long-term position on AMD or still early? It's a very good question. You have this short-term downtrend channel since June, right? But on the long term, what do you see? You see this white trend line holding the lower high, the higher lows here, broke to the downside. Now we need to get back above this trend line over here, back above the support trend line. Otherwise, we can get this kind of price action going, retesting, and continue sliding down on this one over here. The other scenario that price will make this action. This action, it might not be above this trend line over here, but it makes higher lows and higher highs, which means it's also good for taking position for the long. This is why we take Fibonacci together with trend lines. I would wait for another day or two, staying above the 106 area, and then starting slowly building a position. And when I say slowly, it means one thing. Don't go 100% of your position size in the first take. Start with 25%. See that it's really holding this area. Use ATR as your risk management, as your risk calculator. If you don't know how to use ATR, check the Fibonacci Playlist Academy. 25 videos. One of these videos shows exactly how to use ATR to manage your risk, to calculate your position. If you see another day or two above the 110, even if it will be over here below this trend line, but above the 110, 111, let's say something like this. Another candle over here. 1 second. I don't want this, I want this. Another candle over here. Closing above, breaking, closing above. Now you can add, for example, another 25. If your target is, let's say, 50, let's say 100 stocks of AMD. So first you take here 25%, which means 25 stocks. Another day or two above 111, 110, 80, add another 25 stocks. Going up, above this one, add another 5. And of course, you raise your stop loss according to the levels. Each level will become support, from resistance to support, and using the ATR. So I hope it helped you, answered your question. You're more than welcome, Rafael. This is why we do this live. What's going on? Stay safe, and I hope that this will end all future suffering from our side of the border. Any other questions? Any other requests? This will be a very short live due to the circumstances, but we need some kind of escapism with these horrible days. So once again, I want to thank you all very much for joining this live. Take care, stay safe, and I will see you in 1 hour and 10 minutes special live